Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this live broadcast of the Johannesburg Iftar here in Johannesburg. We are coming to you from Gibbins Park in Montgomery Park, and of course, we will be coming to you later on, just before the Iftar adhan. And now there's a mass Iftar that is happening, and you can see behind me a buzz of excitement ahead of that happening. Now, this broadcast has been brought to you by Emergivac Sharia, South Africa's only emergency takaful plan that will guarantee your in-hospital expenses at a private hospital for accident and illness emergencies. Anyone can download the Emergivac app and gain immediate free access to the Sharia collection, which includes the Qibla Finder, Masjid Finder, Salah Times, the Quran, Surahs, and Hadith. Now, the beauty about this very community is that it has a wide range of different of our compatriots here in South Africa. And I'd like to bring a gentleman who has been here since the start of the Mass Iftar, which launched here in Gibbins Park, Mr. Colin. Mr. Colin, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be able to talk to you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. So, Mr. Colin, you were telling me you've been here for quite a few decades. Obviously, before that, of course, we were in the era of apartheid. Now we've seen, of course, the mixtures of different races coming. This is the beauty of South Africa, isn't it? And this allows for this to happen.
Oh, very much so. I've been here for 22 years, just down the road here, and this is my fourth time to have this wonderful celebration with the Muslim community. And, you know, since the Muslim community came to this lovely neighborhood, it just works. Everything is fantastic. And we're all together, and I think that's the most important thing.
And that's the thing. I mean, I'm just seeing, just behind me now, mixture of races. I mean, let's take 40 years back. This would never have happened. And this is the beauty of the South African democracy, isn't it? And this is what Islam, our religion, preaches.
Very much so. You know, this was very much an Afrikaans white community back in the 60s when it first started. The house I live in was built in 1962, and it was very different diversity of people. Now we're all together, and it's wonderful to be able to celebrate things together because we don't know enough about each other. And I think that's what we need to do, because religion is a funny business, for want of a better word, and we all need to practice what we preach.
Without a doubt, when you look at the Muslim community here, what is it about Islam that drew you to want to understand it more and understand the people more?
Certainly. I just think there's great discipline in their religion. They practice what they preach. They always help people, which is wonderful. The others talk about Ubuntu. Well, nobody does it like the Muslim community do. And from the Christian community where I come from, we're not very good at things like that. It's always one or two people, not collectively hundreds or thousands of people who come to the cause.
Mr. Colin, one final question. What does this speak about the unity of the world? Tons of challenges in our country. I don't want to get too political. I'm sure you know what it is. You've been a seasoned camera operator, as you're telling me. So you've seen the dark days of apartheid. You've, of course, seen us transition into this democracy. South Africa needs this, doesn't it, to bring more light, more love, and more of a community within ourselves.
Very much so. We all need to be together, as everybody always says. But unfortunately, people aren't together. And I think that's the diversity of religions and cultures. But here in Montgomery Park, we're top of the pile because we have a good balance of everybody. And we're genuine about it. We will come to help each other, no matter what.
Mr. Colin, thank you so much. May God bless you. We really appreciate you making the time.
My pleasure. Glad to talk to you.
Okay, I'd like to bring in another guest. He is a revert to Islam. I'd like to welcome Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael, please come through. Mr. Michael, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Michael, you reverted to Islam. Talk to us about what drew you towards the religion. What is it that you saw within Islam that made you want to take the Shahadat and come to our beautiful religion?
Central was the sense of community. It made a big difference that I was attached to a Muslim woman, and she persuaded me in the right direction. And that, combined with community, the sense of belonging, is really what made me go on the path of finding the spiritual aspect of it.
Seeing this community get together, talk to us about your experience of having iftar with many of our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters?
Well, one aspect I would like to mention is that I came here 20 years ago. It was a typical suburban, we would refer to them as communities, but they're not communities. They are a bunch of people living in the same space. And then with the influx of a significant number of Muslims, it became a community, a very diverse community, one in which people are learn some tolerances, learn to put up with other people, but came together as one people.
Mr. Michael, labels are labels, and you have the extremists, and of course, post 9/11, there has been obviously, the high levels of Islamophobia. Muslims have been labeled this, Muslims have been labeled that, in every negative connotation. But when you see this over here, and this is practiced worldwide, this truly is a religion of peace, isn't it?
No, absolutely. And unfortunately, the association of 10/11 has kind of been brought up again with what's happening in Gaza, which has been a highly divisive aspect, mostly because of supreme ignorance on the perpetrators and those who support them. So we still go through this process of reconciling, of trying to understand each other. And I think that makes gatherings like this even more important.
But this is the thing. There's a clear understanding here, isn't it? There's different races coming together to even celebrate an important part of our Islamic culture, and that is the breaking of fast, having iftar. And the understanding is here, the friendliness is here, the warmth is here, and most importantly, the love is there.
Yes, and for example, we have a regular cohort of people from the Methodist Old Age Home. And they are here every year that they can, and they love it, and we bond with them. And there are other members of the community that just want to find out what's this all about. And that's the only way that we will ever come together, irrespective of religion, irrespective of politics. So I know of no other thing that brings people together in quite the same format.
Mr. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We really appreciate it.
Walaikum salam.
Well, we will be back just before the iftar adhan to have more interviews, and of course we will be bringing you a dua and the adhan from Gibbins Park in Montgomery Park. It's back to you in studio. Of course, we'll be crossing live to the Durban iftar. How lovely is it for even a non-Muslim to download this app and maybe learn more about Islam through the Emergivec Sharia app?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's just a continuation of what's happening here today in terms of that spirit of us being able to share our Islam, not keep it just with us. And the Emergency Vac is one of the vehicles that we can do this through.
Alhamdulillah. Sabir, as always, shukran so much for allowing us the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, wa alaikum salam.
Okay, let me bring in my next guest, Arshad. Arshad, please do come through. Arshad, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ji, alhamdulillah, and yourself, you are part of this community. I mean, how beautiful is this?
It's amazing, fantastic, Alhamdulillah, the turnout's been fantastic, both from the non-Muslims as well. It's a great dawah that we're doing to the community as well.
I was talking to the gentleman, when we had a 6 o'clock crossing, and they just say all they feel from the Muslim community within this place is warmth and love. And that's what we want. And that's what Ramadan is about, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. And, it's not just only in the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, the Muslim community, in terms of crisis, like you don't have water, for example, it's the Muslim community that stands up first and makes a plan to say, guys, we're not relying on council. Come to our masjid, we have a borehole water. So, in times of crime, when there's somebody in your house, it's the Muslim guys that are there first on scene to help with everything. So that itself is a dawah. And then to have an event like this, they just feel so welcome, and they've never had this sense of community before.
And how important is it to maintain this? Not just in Ramadan, but outside of Ramadan. You were mentioning, of course, when there's water outages, and I know the city of Johannesburg goes through a lot of it, that the community comes together and that the Muslims are the ones leading things in the forefront. We see that with NGOs, we see that with our community leaders. Muslims have to lead the way, isn't it?
No, absolutely. So, a message to everyone. You have one niche. every person has a niche, whether it's serving on the PTA or the school, whether it's in the masjid, whether it's on the CPF, get involved in something. And as long as the Muslims are involved in everything, that collectively will bring the muhabbat, and that's the dawah itself.
Arshad, Jazakallah so much for
Jazakallah.
making the time
Ameen.
for us. Assalamu alaikum wa
Walaikum
rahmatullahi wa
salam.
barakatuh. Okay, we're going to have a final dua just before the iftar adhan. I'd like to welcome Brother Yunus. Brother Yunus, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah for making the time for us.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No problem.
Brother Yunus, I'm going to leave it to you to make the dua.
Okay, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم زدنا ولا تنكسنا وأكرمنا ولا تهنا وأعطنا ولا تحرمنا وآثرنا ولا تؤثر علينا وأرضنا وارض عنا اللهم إنا نسألك إيمانا لا يرتد ونعيما لا ينفد وقرة عين لا تنقطع ومرافقة نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في أعلى جنان الخلد اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما أولئك يجزون الغرفة بما صبروا ويلقون فيها تحية وسلاما خالدين فيها حسنت مستقرا ومقاما ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Shukran so much for that, Brother Yunus. We are going to ask you to stay, of course, to give the adhan. But this broadcast, of course, has been brought to you by Emerge Evacuate. Don't forget to go ahead and download their app to access so many features. There's been a broadcast here from Gibbins Park in Montgomery Park from myself, Fahraaz Patel, and the rest of the technical team, Brother Suleiman and Brother Welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to leave you with Brother Yunus for the adhan for Johannesburg Iftar.
اللهم لك سمت وبك آمنت وعلى رزقك أفطرت بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Ramadan